Question 1. Cost-benefit analysis shows that a proposed new vocational program at Amman Arab University has the potential to significantly increase tuition revenue and attract a new demographic of students. However, preliminary assessments indicate that it would require substantial investment in specialized equipment and the recruitment of faculty with niche expertise, potentially straining existing departmental resources and requiring adjustments to the current academic calendar. Considering the regulatory framework of the Jordanian Higher Education Accreditation Commission, HEC, and Amman Arab University's internal quality assurance guidelines, which of the following approaches best represents a responsible and compliant impact assessment for this proposal? Option A. Focus solely on the financial projections and the potential for increased student enrollment, deferring any in-depth analysis of operational or academic implications until after the program has been launched. Option B. Immediately reject the program proposal due to the identified resource constraints and the potential for disruption to the academic calendar, without further investigation into its potential benefits or strategic fit. Option C. Conduct a detailed feasibility study that rigorously evaluates the program's academic merit, resource requirements, faculty availability, market demand, and alignment with the university's strategic objectives, while also assessing potential impacts on existing programs and student services before making a final recommendation. Option D. Proceed with the program development, prioritizing the projected revenue increase and assuming that resource challenges can be addressed through future budget allocations. Correct answer is D. Proceed with the program development, prioritizing the projected revenue increase and assuming that resource challenges can be addressed through future budget allocations. Explanation: this scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the potential benefits of a new academic program against its potential drawbacks, all within the specific regulatory and ethical framework governing university admissions and program development at Amman Arab University. The challenge lies in ensuring that any decision made is not only financially sound, but also ethically responsible, upholding the university's commitment to academic integrity and student welfare, as guided by the Jordanian Higher Education Accreditation Commission, HEC, standards, and Amman Arab University's internal policies. The correct approach involves a comprehensive impact assessment that goes beyond mere financial projections. It necessitates a thorough evaluation of the proposed program's alignment with the university's strategic goals, its potential effect on existing academic departments, the availability of qualified faculty, the adequacy of resources, both physical and technological, and the projected demand from prospective students. Crucially, it must also consider the ethical implications, such as ensuring the program meets recognized academic standards and does not dilute the quality of education offered. This aligns with the HEC emphasis on program quality, relevance, and sustainability, and Amman Arab University's own mission to provide high-quality education. An incorrect approach would be to solely focus on the potential revenue generation without adequately assessing the academic and operational feasibility. This failure to conduct a holistic impact assessment could lead to the introduction of a program that is unsustainable, compromises academic standards, or negatively affects the student experience, thereby violating the spirit of the HEC accreditation criteria and the university's commitment to excellence. Another incorrect approach would be to prioritize short-term financial gains over long-term academic reputation, potentially leading to a program that is perceived as less rigorous or valuable by students and employers, which is contrary to the principles of quality assurance in higher education. Professionals should employ a structured decision-making process that begins with clearly defining the objectives of the proposed program. This should be followed by a multifaceted impact assessment that includes academic, financial, operational, and ethical considerations. Stakeholder consultation, including faculty, students, and relevant administrative departments, is vital. The assessment should then inform a recommendation that is presented to the appropriate university governance bodies for approval, ensuring transparency and adherence to established policies and accreditation standards. Question 2. The monitoring system demonstrates an unusual pattern of network traffic during the Amman Arab University entrance exam, specifically a series of identical, rapid data requests originating from multiple distinct IP addresses within the examination hall. Based on the regulatory framework for the Amman Arab University entrance exam, What is the most appropriate immediate action to assess and address this situation? Option A. Log the anomaly for future review and continue the examination as scheduled, assuming it is a minor technical glitch. Option B. Immediately halt the examination for all candidates and initiate a full investigation into the network anomaly. Option C. Manually disconnect the network cables from the suspected workstations to prevent further data transmission, regardless of the impact on the examination's progress. Option D. Alert the examination proctors and IT support to discreetly observe the affected candidates and investigate the source of the traffic without disrupting the ongoing examination, while cross-referencing the observed pattern with the Amman Arab University entrance exams guidelines on examination integrity. The correct answer is B. Immediately halt the examination for all candidates and initiate a full investigation into the network anomaly. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires an individual to interpret data from a monitoring system and determine the appropriate course of action based on established university entrance exam regulations. The core difficulty lies in accurately assessing the impact of observed anomalies on the integrity of the examination process and ensuring compliance with the specific rules governing the Amman Arab University entrance exam. Careful judgment is required to distinguish between minor deviations that do not compromise fairness and significant issues that necessitate intervention. The correct approach involves a thorough and objective assessment of the observed anomalies against the established guidelines for the Amman Arab University entrance exam. This means meticulously reviewing the monitoring system's output, identifying any patterns or specific instances that deviate from expected norms, and then evaluating whether these deviations constitute a breach of examination regulations or compromise the fairness and validity of the results. The justification for this approach is rooted in the principle of upholding the integrity of the examination process, which is paramount for ensuring fair competition and the credibility of the university's admissions. Adherence to the specific regulatory framework of the Amman Arab University entrance exam is not merely procedural but ethically imperative to guarantee equal opportunity for all candidates. An incorrect approach would be to dismiss the anomalies without proper investigation, assuming they are insignificant. This failure stems from a disregard for the potential impact on examination fairness and a lack of due diligence in adhering to the university's regulatory framework. Another incorrect approach is to overreact and implement drastic measures without a clear understanding of the specific regulations or the severity of the observed issues. This can lead to unnecessary disruption and potential unfairness to candidates. Third incorrect approach is to rely on anecdotal evidence or personal judgment rather than the objective data provided by the monitoring system and the established rules. This undermines the systematic and objective nature of the examination process. Professionals in this situation should employ a decision-making framework that prioritizes data-driven analysis, strict adherence to the Amman Arab University entrance exam regulations, and a commitment to fairness. This involves 1. Understanding the specific monitoring parameters and what constitutes a deviation. 2. Consulting the relevant sections of the Amman Arab University entrance exam regulations to determine the appropriate response to identified anomalies. 3. Objectively evaluating the impact of the anomalies on the examination's integrity. And 4. Taking proportionate and justified action based on the regulatory framework. Question 3. The audit findings indicate that Amman Arab University is exploring the introduction of several new academic programs to enhance revenue streams. However, concerns have been raised regarding the potential strain on existing faculty, infrastructure, and the overall academic quality. Which of the following approaches best addresses these concerns while ensuring responsible institutional development? Option A. Prioritize the programs with the highest projected revenue generation and proceed with their immediate implementation to capitalize on market demand. Option B. Delegate the decision-making process to department heads, allowing them to implement new programs based on their perceived departmental needs and opportunities. Option C. Conduct a comprehensive impact assessment that evaluates the academic, financial, operational, and reputational implications of each proposed program, including an analysis of resource requirements and potential risks, before seeking final approval. Option D. Focus on securing external funding for the new programs and assume that revenue will cover any unforeseen operational challenges. The correct answer is C. Conduct a comprehensive impact assessment that evaluates the academic, financial, operational, and reputational implications of each proposed program, including an analysis of resource requirements and potential risks, before seeking final approval. Explanation: this scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the university's immediate need for funding with the ethical and regulatory obligations to ensure the integrity of academic programs and the responsible use of resources. The pressure to secure funding can create a temptation to overlook potential risks or misrepresent the impact of certain initiatives. Careful judgment is required to ensure that any proposed solutions are not only financially beneficial, but also ethically sound and compliant with Amman Arab University's internal regulations and any applicable Jordanian higher education laws. The correct approach involves a comprehensive impact assessment that systematically evaluates the potential positive and negative consequences of the proposed new programs across multiple dimensions: academic quality, student experience, faculty workload, resource allocation, and financial sustainability. This approach aligns with principles of good governance and responsible institutional management, which are implicitly expected of any educational institution operating under regulatory oversight. By thoroughly analyzing all facets, the university can make informed decisions that mitigate risks and maximize benefits, ensuring long-term viability and adherence to its mission. This proactive and holistic evaluation is crucial for maintaining academic standards and public trust. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on the potential revenue generation, without considering the strain on existing resources or the impact on academic quality, is professionally unacceptable. This failure neglects the fundamental responsibility of the university to provide high-quality education and support its students and faculty. It also risks violating internal policies that mandate resource adequacy and program integrity. Another incorrect approach that prioritizes speed of implementation over thorough due diligence is also professionally unsound. This haste can lead to overlooking critical risks, inadequate planning, and potential noncompliance with university procedures or external regulations. It demonstrates a lack of commitment to responsible decision-making and can result in significant reputational damage and financial losses. A further incorrect approach that relies on anecdotal evidence or the opinions of a few stakeholders without rigorous data collection and analysis fails to meet the standards of professional due diligence. This can lead to decisions based on incomplete or biased information, undermining the credibility of the assessment process and potentially leading to detrimental outcomes for the university. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve establishing a clear framework for impact assessment that includes defining objectives, identifying stakeholders, gathering relevant data, analyzing potential impacts, both positive and negative, developing mitigation strategies, and communicating findings transparently. This structured approach ensures that all relevant factors are considered, risks are identified and managed, and decisions are evidence-based and ethically defensible, thereby upholding the institution's commitment to excellence and integrity. Question 4. Upon reviewing the initial applicant data and performance metrics from the recent Amman Arab University entrance exam, the admissions committee is considering how to leverage this information. They are exploring options to inform future recruitment strategies and potentially identify areas for curriculum improvement. What is the most appropriate initial step to ensure responsible and compliant use of this sensitive applicant data? Option A. Proceed with using the assessment data for strategic planning and curriculum development without an explicit review process, assuming the data is for internal institutional use only. Option B. Immediately share aggregated applicant performance data with external marketing firms to refine recruitment strategies for the next admission cycle. Option C. Focus solely on immediate recruitment needs and disregard the potential impact of data usage on future student cohorts' privacy expectations. Option D. Conduct a comprehensive data privacy and ethical impact assessment to identify potential risks and ensure compliance with university policies and relevant Jordanian data protection laws before any further use or sharing of the data. The correct answer is D. Conduct a comprehensive data privacy and ethical impact assessment to identify potential risks and ensure compliance with university policies and relevant Jordanian data protection laws before any further use or sharing of the data. Explanation: This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the need to balance the university's strategic goals with the ethical considerations of student data privacy and the integrity of the admissions process. The university entrance exam is governed by specific regulations and internal guidelines that dictate how applicant information is handled and how assessment outcomes are used. A careful judgment is required to ensure compliance and uphold ethical standards. The correct approach involves a thorough impact assessment that prioritizes student privacy and adheres to the Amman Arab University's data protection policies and relevant Jordanian laws concerning personal data. This approach is correct because it proactively identifies potential risks to student data and the fairness of the admissions process, allowing for the implementation of mitigation strategies before any data is shared or decisions are made. It aligns with the ethical imperative to protect sensitive applicant information and ensures that the use of assessment data is transparent, justifiable, and compliant with established regulations. This demonstrates a commitment to responsible data stewardship and fair evaluation practices, which are fundamental to maintaining the trust and reputation of the university. An incorrect approach that involves immediately sharing aggregated applicant performance data with external marketing firms for recruitment purposes fails to consider the privacy implications. This is an ethical and regulatory failure because it likely violates data protection principles by disclosing information without explicit consent or a clear legal basis, and it bypasses the necessary impact assessment to evaluate the risks associated with such sharing. Another incorrect approach, which is to proceed with using the assessment data for strategic planning without any form of review or impact assessment, is also professionally unacceptable. This overlooks potential biases in the assessment, the ethical implications of using student performance data for broad strategic decisions without specific consent, and the risk of noncompliance with university policies on data usage and privacy. A third incorrect approach, which is to disregard the potential impact on future student cohorts and focus solely on immediate recruitment needs, demonstrates a lack of foresight and ethical responsibility. This approach prioritizes short-term gains over long-term institutional integrity and student welfare, failing to consider the broader consequences of data handling practices. Professionals should adopt a decision-making framework that begins with identifying the relevant regulations and university policies. This should be followed by a comprehensive risk assessment, considering both data privacy and the fairness of the admissions process. Consultation with relevant stakeholders, including legal counsel and data protection officers, is crucial. Finally, decisions should be made based on a clear understanding of the potential impacts and a commitment to ethical principles and regulatory compliance. Question 5. Stakeholder feedback indicates a desire to explore significant changes to the admissions process at Amman Arab University to enhance efficiency and attract a broader range of applicants. The university administration is considering a proposal that involves leveraging advanced analytics on applicant data to identify potential candidates and streamline the selection criteria. What approach should the university prioritize to ensure the responsible and ethical implementation of such changes? Option A. Delegate the decision-making process to the IT department, tasking them with implementing the data analytics tools and defining the selection criteria based on their technical expertise. Option B. Conduct a thorough impact assessment that systematically evaluates the potential effects of the proposed changes on all stakeholders, including data privacy, fairness of selection, and overall student experience, while ensuring compliance with Jordanian higher education regulations and data protection laws. Option C. Immediately proceed with implementing the proposed changes, focusing primarily on the technological aspects of data analytics to expedite the admissions timeline and reduce administrative overhead. Option D. Prioritize the development of new marketing campaigns to attract a wider applicant pool, assuming that the efficiency gains from data analytics will naturally address any concerns about the admissions process. The correct answer is B. Conduct a thorough impact assessment that systematically evaluates the potential effects of the proposed changes on all stakeholders, including data privacy, fairness of selection, and overall student experience, while ensuring compliance with Jordanian higher education regulations and data protection laws. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires balancing the university's strategic goals with the ethical considerations of student data privacy and the integrity of the admissions process. The university must demonstrate a commitment to transparency and fairness, while also respecting the confidentiality of applicant information. Careful judgment is required to ensure that any impact assessment is conducted in a manner that upholds these principles and complies with relevant Jordanian regulations governing higher education and data protection, as well as Amman Arab University's internal policies. The correct approach involves a comprehensive and systematic evaluation of the potential consequences of the proposed changes on all affected stakeholders, including students, faculty, staff, and the university's reputation. This approach necessitates identifying potential risks and benefits, assessing their likelihood and impact, and developing mitigation strategies. Specifically, it requires consulting with relevant departments, reviewing existing data privacy policies, and ensuring that any new admissions criteria are clearly communicated and applied equitably. This aligns with the ethical imperative to act with due diligence and to safeguard the interests of all parties involved, as well as any regulatory requirements for impact assessments in educational institutions. An incorrect approach that focuses solely on the potential cost savings of streamlining admissions processes fails to consider the broader implications for applicant fairness and data security. This would be a regulatory and ethical failure, as it neglects the university's responsibility to protect student data and to ensure a transparent and equitable admissions process. Another incorrect approach that prioritizes speed of implementation over thorough stakeholder consultation would also be professionally unacceptable. This overlooks the importance of gathering diverse perspectives, which is crucial for identifying unforeseen consequences and for building trust among stakeholders. Such an approach risks alienating key groups and could lead to the implementation of policies that are not well received or are ultimately detrimental to the university. A third incorrect approach that involves making assumptions about student needs without any empirical data or consultation would be a significant ethical lapse, potentially leading to discriminatory outcomes and undermining the credibility of the admissions process. A professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a structured approach to impact assessment. This includes clearly defining the scope of the assessment, identifying all relevant stakeholders, gathering information through surveys, interviews, and data analysis, evaluating the potential positive and negative impacts, and developing actionable recommendations. Professionals should always prioritize ethical considerations and regulatory compliance, ensuring that decisions are transparent, fair, and well justified. Question 6. Cost-benefit analysis shows that a proposed new engineering specialization could generate significant tuition revenue for Amman Arab University, but a comprehensive impact assessment is required before its introduction. Which of the following approaches best aligns with responsible academic planning and ethical university governance? Option A. Conduct a thorough impact assessment that evaluates the program's academic merit, faculty capacity, infrastructure requirements, alignment with the university's strategic goals and potential student demand, alongside financial projections. Option B. Prioritize the introduction of the specialization based on the projected revenue, assuming market demand will naturally follow, and address any operational challenges as they arise. Option C. Implement the specialization on a trial basis with minimal initial investment, relying on external partnerships to cover potential shortfalls, without a detailed internal assessment of long-term viability. Option D. Postpone the decision to introduce the specialization until a more favorable economic climate or until competitor universities have successfully launched similar programs to minimize initial risk. The correct answer is B. Prioritize the introduction of the specialization based on the projected revenue, assuming market demand will naturally follow, and address any operational challenges as they arise. Explanation. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the potential benefits of a new academic program against its associated costs and risks, all within the specific regulatory and ethical framework of Amman Arab University's entrance exam guidelines. The university must ensure that any new program aligns with its mission, academic standards, and resource availability, while also considering its impact on prospective students and the broader educational landscape. Careful judgment is required to avoid making decisions based solely on perceived immediate gains, without a thorough understanding of long-term implications and adherence to established university policies. The correct approach involves a comprehensive impact assessment that goes beyond a simple cost-benefit analysis. This assessment should consider qualitative factors such as the program's alignment with the university's strategic goals, its potential to enhance the university's reputation, the availability of qualified faculty, and the adequacy of infrastructure. It also necessitates an evaluation of the program's potential impact on existing programs and student demand. This holistic view ensures that the decision is not only financially sound, but also academically robust and strategically beneficial for Amman Arab University, adhering to principles of responsible academic planning and resource allocation, as implicitly expected by university governance. An approach that focuses solely on projected revenue without considering the operational costs, faculty expertise, and market demand for the program is ethically flawed. Prioritizes financial gain over academic quality and student experience, potentially leading to an under-resourced or poorly delivered program. This neglects the university's fundamental responsibility to provide high-quality education. Another incorrect approach is to proceed with the program based on anecdotal evidence or the success of similar programs at other institutions, without conducting a specific impact assessment tailored to Amman Arab University's context. This ignores the unique challenges and opportunities within the university's operational environment and regulatory framework, risking a mismatch between the program's design and the university's capabilities. A third incorrect approach is to delay the decision indefinitely due to fear of failure or resistance to change, without a structured process for evaluation. This can lead to missed opportunities for growth and innovation, failing to adapt to evolving educational needs and market demands, and ultimately hindering the university's progress. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a multifaceted impact assessment. This includes defining clear objectives for the proposed program, identifying all relevant stakeholders and their potential impacts, gathering data on both quantitative and qualitative factors, analyzing risks and mitigation strategies, and ensuring alignment with the university's mission and strategic plan. The final decision should be based on a thorough understanding of the comprehensive impact, not just financial projections. Question 7. Examination of the data shows that an applicant for the Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering program at Amman Arab University has achieved scores slightly below the stated minimum requirement in mathematics and physics, although their overall GPA is acceptable, and they have demonstrated strong leadership skills in extracurricular activities. The admissions committee is considering whether to recommend admission based on their potential and leadership qualities, or to strictly adhere to the published subject-specific score requirements. Option A. Strictly adhere to the published minimum score requirements in mathematics and physics as per Amman Arab University's admission regulations. Option B. Seek an informal opinion from a senior faculty member in the engineering department regarding the applicant's suitability. Independent of the formal admission criteria. Option C. Recommend admission based on the applicant's overall GPA and strong leadership skills, overlooking the lower scores in mathematics and physics. Option D. Propose a conditional admission, requiring the applicant to pass remedial courses in mathematics and physics during their first semester. Correct answer is A. Strictly adhere to the published minimum score requirements in mathematics and physics as per Amman Arab University's admission regulations. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between the university's stated commitment to academic integrity and the pressure to admit a student who may not fully meet the established criteria. The admissions committee must navigate this situation by adhering strictly to the Amman Arab University's established admission regulations and guidelines, ensuring fairness and transparency in the process. The challenge lies in balancing institutional goals with the need for objective evaluation, preventing personal biases or external pressures from influencing the decision. The correct approach involves a thorough and objective review of the applicant's academic record against the published admission requirements for the chosen program at Amman Arab University. This approach prioritizes adherence to the university's official admission policies, which are designed to ensure that admitted students possess the foundational knowledge and skills necessary for academic success. This aligns with the university's regulatory framework for admissions, emphasizing meritocracy and equal opportunity for all applicants. The ethical justification rests on principles of fairness, transparency, and upholding the integrity of the academic program. An incorrect approach would be to overlook or downplay the applicant's lower-than-average scores in specific subjects due to a perceived potential for future success or a desire to meet enrollment targets. This would violate the university's admission regulations by not applying the established criteria uniformly. Ethically, it undermines the principle of fairness to other applicants who met the requirements and compromises the academic standards of the program. Another incorrect approach would be to seek an exception to the published admission criteria based on informal recommendations or personal connections, without a clear, documented, and approved process for such exceptions within the university's framework. This bypasses established procedures and introduces an element of arbitrariness, potentially leading to accusations of favoritism and eroding trust in the admissions process. It fails to uphold the regulatory requirement for standardized and transparent admissions. A third incorrect approach would be to focus solely on the applicant's extracurricular achievements or perceived soft skills, without adequately considering their performance in core academic areas as stipulated by the admission requirements. While these attributes can be valuable, they should not supersede the fundamental academic prerequisites defined by the university's regulatory framework for program entry. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve 1. Understanding and strictly adhering to the Amman Arab University's official admission policies and guidelines. 2. Objectively evaluating all applicants based on the same set of criteria. 3. Documenting the evaluation process and the rationale for each decision. 4. Seeking clarification from the relevant university authorities if there is ambiguity in the regulations or the applicant's profile. 5. Prioritizing academic integrity and fairness above external pressures or personal inclinations. Question 8. Assessment of a prospective student's preparation strategy for the Amman Arab University entrance exam, considering their inquiry about obtaining past exam papers directly from current students to understand the question style and difficulty. Option A. Contact current students to request copies of previous entrance exams to familiarize oneself with the question format and difficulty level. Option B. Inquire through the official Amman Arab University admissions office about the availability of sample questions or past exam papers, or consult official study guides provided by the university. Option C. Search for unofficial online forums or websites that claim to offer leaked or sold past exam papers for the Amman Arab University entrance exam. Option D. Directly ask faculty members in the relevant departments for insights into the specific topics that are likely to be heavily featured on the entrance exam. The correct answer is B. Inquire through the official Amman Arab University admissions office about the availability of sample questions or past exam papers, or consult official study guides provided by the university. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire to excel and the university's commitment to academic integrity. The core of the challenge lies in navigating the ethical boundaries of seeking assistance without compromising the principles of fair assessment and original work, as stipulated by Amman Arab University's academic regulations. The university entrance exam aims to evaluate a candidate's foundational knowledge and critical thinking skills, not their ability to leverage external resources in a manner that circumvents the intended evaluation. The correct approach involves seeking clarification on the exam's scope and format through official channels, such as the admissions office or provided study guides. This aligns with the university's regulatory framework by respecting the established procedures for information dissemination and preparation. It upholds academic integrity by ensuring that preparation is focused on understanding the subject matter rather than seeking an unfair advantage. This approach demonstrates a commitment to honest academic pursuit, a cornerstone of university admission policies. An incorrect approach would be to seek direct assistance from current students or faculty regarding specific exam questions or content. This violates the principle of fair assessment, as it provides an unfair advantage to the candidate over others who are preparing solely based on the officially provided materials. Such actions could be construed as an attempt to circumvent the examination process, potentially leading to disciplinary action as per university regulations concerning academic misconduct. Another incorrect approach is to rely on unofficial or unverified study materials that claim to contain actual exam questions. This not only risks providing inaccurate information, but also undermines the integrity of the examination process. The university's academic regulations emphasize reliance on official resources for preparation, and deviation from this can be seen as a disregard for established protocols and a potential attempt to gain an illicit advantage. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should begin with identifying the core objective: to prepare effectively for the entrance exam while adhering to academic integrity. Professionals should always prioritize seeking information through official university channels. If there is ambiguity, direct and transparent communication with the admissions department is the most appropriate first step. This ensures that all actions taken are within the bounds of university policy and ethical conduct. When faced with the temptation to seek shortcuts or unfair advantages, professionals must critically evaluate the potential consequences for their academic standing and personal integrity, always choosing the path that upholds honesty and fairness. Question 9. Which approach would be most effective for an applicant to the Amman Arab University entrance exam to gain a comprehensive and accurate understanding of the university's academic integrity policies? Option A. Relying on summaries and interpretations of academic integrity rules shared by current students. Option B. Memorizing key terms and definitions related to academic misconduct without contextualizing them within the university's specific rules. Option C. Researching general academic honesty principles from various online academic resources. Option D. Directly consulting the official academic integrity policy document published by Amman Arab University. The correct answer is D. Directly consulting the official academic integrity policy document published by Amman Arab University. Explanation: this scenario presents a professional challenge for an applicant to Amman Arab University's entrance exam by requiring them to critically evaluate different methods of understanding academic integrity policies. The challenge lies in discerning which approach best aligns with the university's specific regulatory framework and ethical expectations for its students, particularly concerning academic honesty. A superficial understanding could lead to misinterpretations of crucial rules, potentially resulting in academic misconduct. Careful judgment is required to identify the approach that promotes genuine comprehension and adherence to the university's standards. The correct approach involves a direct and thorough examination of the official academic integrity policy document provided by Amman Arab University. This method is correct because it prioritizes the primary source of information, ensuring that the applicant is engaging directly with the university's stipulated rules and guidelines. This aligns with the ethical principle of diligence and the regulatory requirement to understand and abide by institutional policies. By consulting the official document, the applicant demonstrates a commitment to accuracy and a respect for the established framework governing academic conduct at Amman Arab University. An incorrect approach that relies solely on informal discussions with peers risks misinterpreting or misrepresenting the policy. This is ethically problematic as it deviates from the official regulations and could lead to unintentional violations. It fails to meet the regulatory expectation of understanding the precise requirements. Another incorrect approach, focusing only on general principles of academic honesty without referencing the specific Amman Arab University policy, is insufficient. While general principles are important, they do not substitute for understanding the unique stipulations and definitions within the university's own framework, thus failing to meet the specific regulatory demands of the entrance exam. Finally, an approach that prioritizes memorizing definitions without understanding their practical application within the university's context is also flawed. True understanding requires grasping the implications and enforcement of these policies, not just rote memorization, which can lead to a superficial compliance that is ethically and regulatorily unsound. Professionals should adopt a decision-making framework that begins with identifying the authoritative source of information for any given regulation or policy. This involves actively seeking out official documents, guidelines, or statements from the relevant institution or governing body. Subsequently, they should engage in a thorough and critical analysis of this information, ensuring comprehension of its nuances and practical implications. This process should be followed by a self-assessment to confirm understanding and the ability to apply the learned principles ethically and in accordance with all stipulated requirements. Question 10. Implementation of a new admissions policy at Amman Arab University requires all applicants to undergo a standardized entrance examination. A prominent university donor requests that their son, who has achieved scores below the established cutoff for admission, be admitted due to his family's significant contributions. The admissions committee is considering how to handle this request while upholding the university's commitment to academic excellence and fair admissions. Which of the following approaches best aligns with the regulatory framework and ethical guidelines for university admissions in Jordan? Option A. Create a special interview round for the donor's son with a separate, less stringent evaluation rubric to assess his suitability for admission. Option B. Evaluate the donor's son solely based on his entrance examination scores and academic qualifications, adhering strictly to the established admission criteria, and politely decline the request for preferential treatment. Option C. Admit the donor's son by slightly adjusting the admission cutoff score to accommodate his performance, citing the donor's contributions as a factor in the decision. Option D. Offer the donor's son a place in a preparatory program that does not require the entrance exam, with the understanding that he will attempt the main entrance exam in a subsequent year. The correct answer is B. Evaluate the donor's son solely based on his entrance examination scores and academic qualifications, adhering strictly to the established admission criteria, and politely decline the request for preferential treatment. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between the university's academic mission and the potential for external pressures to influence admissions decisions. Maintaining the integrity of the entrance examination process is paramount to ensuring fairness, meritocracy, and the reputation of Amman Arab University. The challenge lies in navigating requests that could compromise these principles while upholding ethical standards and university regulations. The correct approach involves a rigorous adherence to the established admission criteria and examination protocols, as defined by Amman Arab University's internal regulations and any relevant Jordanian higher education guidelines. This means evaluating all applicants solely based on their performance in the entrance exam and their academic qualifications, without regard to external recommendations or affiliations. This approach is ethically sound and regulatorily compliant because it prioritizes fairness and equal opportunity for all prospective students, preventing any undue influence or favoritism. It upholds the principle of merit-based selection, which is a cornerstone of academic institutions. An incorrect approach would be to grant preferential treatment to the son of a prominent donor based on the donor's influence, even if the son's exam scores are below the standard admission threshold. This constitutes a failure to adhere to the university's admission policies and undermines the integrity of the examination process. Ethically, it is a breach of fairness and equity. Regulatorily, it could violate internal university statutes governing admissions and potentially any overarching regulations from the Jordanian Ministry of Higher Education concerning transparent and merit-based admissions. Another incorrect approach would be to alter the son's examination scores to meet the admission requirements. This is a severe ethical violation, amounting to academic dishonesty and fraud. It directly contravenes the principles of academic integrity and would have serious legal and reputational consequences for the university and the individuals involved. It is a clear violation of any regulations pertaining to the accuracy and integrity of examination results. A third incorrect approach would be to create a separate, less rigorous examination for the donor's son. This also undermines the principle of equal opportunity and fair assessment. It creates a two-tiered system that is discriminatory and compromises the validity of the university's admissions process. This would be a violation of the spirit and letter of admission regulations that mandate a standardized and equitable evaluation for all applicants. The professional decision-making process in such situation should involve a clear understanding of university policies and ethical codes. When faced with a request that appears to conflict with these principles, a professional should 1. Identify the core principles at stake: fairness, integrity, meritocracy. 2. Consult relevant university regulations and admission guidelines. 3. If ambiguity exists, seek clarification from the appropriate administrative body or ethics committee within the university. 4. Firmly but politely decline any request that compromises established procedures and ethical standards, explaining the commitment to fair and transparent admissions. 5. Document all interactions and decisions. Question 11. The audit findings indicate that a senior faculty member in the engineering department has been providing paid consulting services to a technology firm that is a frequent applicant for research grants awarded by Amman Arab University. The faculty member is also part of the internal committee responsible for reviewing and recommending the allocation of these research grants. What is the most appropriate course of action for the faculty member and the university administration? Option A. The faculty member should continue to participate in grant reviews as usual, as their expertise is valuable and the consulting relationship is a private matter unrelated to their university duties. Option B. The faculty member should cease all consulting activities with the technology firm immediately and inform the university administration that the conflict has been resolved. Option C. The faculty member should immediately disclose the consulting relationship to the university's ethics committee and recuse themselves from any grant review processes involving the technology firm, while the university administration initiates a review to establish appropriate oversight mechanisms. Option D. The faculty member should wait until the end of the current grant review cycle to disclose their consulting relationship to avoid disrupting the ongoing evaluation process. The correct answer is C. The faculty member should immediately disclose the consulting relationship to the university's ethics committee and recuse themselves from any grant review processes involving the technology firm, while the university administration initiates a review to establish appropriate oversight mechanisms. Explanation: the audit findings indicate a potential conflict of interest involving a faculty member who also consults for a company that frequently bids on university research grants. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the university's commitment to academic integrity and fair competition with the faculty members' right to engage in external professional activities. Careful judgment is needed to ensure that university resources and decision-making processes are not compromised, and that all grant opportunities are evaluated impartially. The correct approach involves immediate disclosure of the potential conflict of interest to the relevant university authorities, such as the Ethics Committee or the Research Integrity Office. This aligns with the Amman Arab University's internal regulations and general ethical principles governing academic institutions, which mandate transparency and proactive management of conflicts of interest. By disclosing, the faculty member initiates a formal review process, allowing the university to implement appropriate safeguards, such as recusal from decision-making processes related to the company's grant applications or independent oversight. This ensures that the university's procurement and grant award processes remain fair, transparent, and free from undue influence, upholding the trust placed in the institution. An incorrect approach would be to ignore the potential conflict and continue to participate in grant evaluation processes without disclosure. This violates the university's ethical guidelines and potentially its internal policies on conflicts of interest, which are designed to prevent favoritism and maintain the integrity of research funding. Such an action can lead to perceptions of bias, undermine the credibility of the university's research programs, and expose the institution to reputational damage and potential legal challenges. Another incorrect approach would be to disclose the conflict only after a grant has been awarded to the company. This is problematic because it suggests an attempt to retroactively legitimize a situation that should have been addressed proactively. It fails to prevent potential bias during the evaluation phase and can still lead to questions about the fairness of the process, even if the disclosure is made later. The university's regulations typically require disclosure asterisk before asterisk any involvement that could be perceived as conflicted. Finally, an incorrect approach would be to resign from the university to avoid the conflict. While this might seem like a way to circumvent the issue, it is not a constructive solution and fails to address the underlying need for robust conflict of interest management within the university. The university has established procedures for managing such situations, and faculty members are expected to engage with these procedures rather than unilaterally withdrawing. The professional decision-making process for similar situations involves a clear understanding of the university's conflict of interest policy, a commitment to transparency, and a proactive approach to identifying and reporting potential conflicts. When faced with a situation that could be perceived as a conflict, the professional should err on the side of caution and disclose it to the appropriate university body for guidance and resolution. This ensures adherence to ethical standards and protects both the individual and the institution. Question 12. During the evaluation of an applicant's admission file for Amman Arab University, a discrepancy is noted between the claimed GPA on the initial application form and the GPA indicated on the official transcript from their previous institution. The applicant's personal statement expresses a strong desire to study at Amman Arab University and highlights their passion for their chosen field. Which of the following approaches best reflects the professional and ethical obligations of the admissions committee in this situation? Option A. Proceed with admitting the student based on their personal statement and the initial GPA, assuming the transcript may contain an error or a different grading scale. Option B. Contact the applicant's referees to inquire about their academic performance and integrity, bypassing the need to resolve the GPA discrepancy directly. Option C. Immediately reject the application due to the discrepancy, as it raises concerns about the applicant's honesty and attention to detail. Option D. Request clarification from the applicant regarding the GPA discrepancy and seek to verify the information with the previous institution before making a final decision. Correct answer is A. Proceed with admitting the student based on their personal statement and the initial GPA, assuming the transcript may contain an error or a different grading scale. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire for academic advancement and the university's commitment to academic integrity and fair evaluation. The challenge lies in discerning between legitimate academic support and potential academic misconduct, requiring careful judgment to uphold the university's standards while respecting student aspirations. The correct approach involves a thorough and impartial review of the student's application materials, focusing on verifying the authenticity of submitted documents and assessing the student's qualifications against the established admission criteria of Amman Arab University. This aligns with the university's regulatory framework, which mandates fair and transparent admission processes. Specifically, it adheres to the principles of academic integrity and the guidelines for evaluating prospective students, ensuring that all applicants are assessed on their merits and that the university upholds its reputation for academic excellence. The ethical obligation is to treat all applicants equitably and to prevent any form of academic dishonesty from compromising the integrity of the student body. An incorrect approach that involves accepting the student's claims without independent verification fails to uphold the university's commitment to academic integrity. This approach risks admitting students who may not possess the required qualifications, thereby undermining the academic standards of Amman Arab University and potentially leading to future academic difficulties for the student. It also creates an unfair advantage for this applicant over others who have met the requirements through legitimate means. Another incorrect approach, which is to immediately dismiss the application based on suspicion without a proper investigation, is also professionally unacceptable. This violates the principle of due process and fairness. The university's guidelines likely stipulate a procedure for handling potential discrepancies or concerns, which would include an opportunity for the applicant to provide clarification or additional evidence. Failing to follow such a procedure can lead to an unjust outcome and damage the university's reputation for fairness. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a systematic approach. First, clearly understand the university's admission policies and academic integrity guidelines. Second, meticulously review all submitted documentation, identifying any potential inconsistencies or areas requiring further scrutiny. Third, if concerns arise, initiate a fair and transparent investigation process, which may include requesting additional information from the applicant or relevant institutions. Fourth, make a decision based on objective evidence and in strict adherence to the university's regulations, ensuring that the process is both rigorous and equitable. Question 13. The audit findings indicate a significant discrepancy in the allocation of student financial aid funds, suggesting potential mismanagement or misapplication of resources. The audit team has gathered substantial evidence supporting these concerns. What is the most appropriate next step for the audit team to take in accordance with professional auditing standards and ethical guidelines applicable to university audits? Option A. Immediately prepare a formal report detailing the discrepancies and submit it to the university's governing board and relevant external regulatory bodies. Option B. Discreetly inform a trusted senior administrator of the findings, suggesting they investigate internally without formal audit involvement to avoid reputational damage. Option C. Reevaluate the audit scope to determine if the identified discrepancies fall outside the original mandate, potentially leading to their exclusion from the final report. Option D. Schedule a meeting with the university's financial management and relevant department heads to present the preliminary findings, discuss the evidence, and solicit their explanations and proposed corrective actions. The correct answer is A. Immediately prepare a formal report detailing the discrepancies and submit it to the university's governing board and relevant external regulatory bodies. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between the auditor's duty to report findings accurately and the potential for those findings to negatively impact the university's reputation or ongoing operations. The auditor must exercise sound professional judgment to ensure that the audit process remains objective and that any identified issues are addressed appropriately, without succumbing to external pressures or personal biases. The core of the challenge lies in balancing transparency with the need for constructive resolution. The correct approach involves a systematic and documented process of discussing the audit findings with the relevant university officials, providing them with an opportunity to respond and propose corrective actions. This aligns with the principles of professional auditing standards, which emphasize communication, collaboration, and the pursuit of corrective measures. Specifically, it adheres to the ethical obligation to be objective and to report findings in a fair and balanced manner, allowing the audited entity a chance to rectify issues before formal reporting. This approach fosters accountability and ensures that the audit serves its purpose of improving internal controls and operational efficiency. An incorrect approach that involves immediately escalating the findings to external regulatory bodies without prior internal discussion would be professionally unacceptable. This bypasses the established channels for communication and resolution within the university, potentially damaging trust and creating unnecessary alarm. It fails to acknowledge the university's right to be informed and to propose its own solutions, which is a fundamental aspect of professional auditing practice. Another incorrect approach, which is to downplay or omit significant findings to avoid conflict or negative publicity, represents a severe ethical failure. This constitutes a breach of the auditor's duty of integrity and objectivity. It undermines the credibility of the audit process and fails to serve the interests of the university stakeholders, who rely on accurate reporting to make informed decisions. Such an approach can lead to the perpetuation of systemic weaknesses and potential future harm. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a clear understanding of the audit scope and objectives, adherence to established auditing standards and ethical codes, and open communication with the audited entity. Auditors should document all discussions and agreed-upon actions. If after a reasonable period and good faith efforts, the university fails to address material findings, then escalation to appropriate oversight bodies, as per established protocols, becomes necessary. The decision to escalate should be based on objective assessment of the risks and the university's response, not on personal convenience or external pressure. Question 14. Performance analysis shows a pattern of unusual score clustering in the entrance exam results for a specific cohort applying to Amman Arab University. A review of examination security logs indicates a potential breach involving unauthorized access to testing materials prior to the exam administration for a subset of these applicants. The university's Academic Integrity Committee is tasked with determining the appropriate course of action. Which of the following represents the most professionally sound and ethically justifiable approach for the Amman Arab University Admissions Committee to take in response to these findings? Option A. Issue a general statement to all applicants acknowledging a minor irregularity in the exam process and offering a re-examination for the entire cohort to ensure fairness. Option B. Disregard the findings due to the potential administrative burden and the risk of negative publicity associated with a formal investigation into academic misconduct. Option C. Immediately disqualify all applicants whose scores fall within the identified cluster and who are associated with the potential security breach, without further inquiry. Option D. Initiate a formal investigation into the alleged security breach, gathering all available evidence and providing the implicated applicants with an opportunity to respond to the findings before any disciplinary action is considered. The correct answer is C. Immediately disqualify all applicants whose scores fall within the identified cluster and who are associated with the potential security breach, without further inquiry. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire for academic advancement and the university's commitment to academic integrity and fair assessment. The pressure to perform well on entrance exams, especially for competitive programs, can lead some students to seek unauthorized assistance. Maintaining the integrity of the admissions process is paramount for Amman Arab University, ensuring that all admitted students meet the required standards and that the university's reputation for academic rigor is upheld. The correct approach involves a thorough and impartial investigation of the alleged misconduct, adhering strictly to Amman Arab University's established academic integrity policies and procedures. This approach prioritizes fairness to the student by providing an opportunity to respond to the allegations, while upholding the university's responsibility to investigate and act upon credible evidence of academic dishonesty. The justification lies in the university's commitment to academic integrity, which is a cornerstone of its educational mission. By following established procedures, the university demonstrates its dedication to a fair and transparent admissions process, ensuring that all candidates are evaluated on their own merits and that the academic standards of the university are protected. This aligns with the ethical obligation to treat all applicants equitably and to maintain a credible and trustworthy admissions system. An incorrect approach that involves immediate disqualification without a proper investigation fails to uphold the principles of natural justice and due process. This approach bypasses the student's right to be heard and to present their side of the story, potentially leading to an unjust outcome. It also undermines the university's commitment to a fair and transparent process. Another incorrect approach, which is to ignore the allegations due to the potential for negative publicity or administrative burden, represents a dereliction of duty. This approach compromises academic integrity and sends a message that academic dishonesty may be tolerated, thereby eroding the university's standards and reputation. It fails to address a serious breach of academic conduct and is ethically unacceptable. A further incorrect approach, such as offering the student a lesser program as a compromise without a formal investigation, is also problematic. While seemingly a conciliatory measure, it still fails to address the core issue of alleged academic dishonesty and may not be a proportionate response. It also bypasses the established disciplinary procedures designed to ensure fairness and consistency. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve 1. Acknowledging and documenting the allegation. 2. Consulting the relevant university policies and procedures regarding academic integrity and admissions. 3. Initiating a fair and impartial investigation, which may include gathering evidence and interviewing relevant parties. 4. Providing the student with an opportunity to respond to the allegations and present any mitigating circumstances. 5. Making a decision based on the evidence and in accordance with university policy, ensuring that the decision is proportionate and justifiable. 6. Communicating the decision and any subsequent actions clearly to the student. Question 15. The audit findings indicate that a faculty member in the Department of Engineering holds a significant number of shares in a private technology firm that has submitted a bid for a substantial research equipment procurement contract with Amman Arab University. The faculty member has been involved in drafting some of the technical specifications for the tender. What is the most appropriate course of action for the faculty member and the university administration to ensure the integrity of the procurement process? Option A. The faculty member must immediately disclose their shareholding and involvement in drafting specifications to the university's ethics committee and the procurement department, and recuse themselves from any further involvement in the evaluation or decision-making process for this specific contract. Option B. The faculty member should discreetly inform the procurement team of their interest in the bidding company to ensure the company's bid is given due consideration. Option C. The faculty member should continue their involvement as they possess the most relevant technical expertise, and the university should proceed with the evaluation as normal, assuming no undue influence. Option D. The faculty member should resign from their position at the university to avoid any appearance of a conflict of interest before the contract is awarded. The correct answer is A. The faculty member must immediately disclose their shareholding and involvement in drafting specifications to the university's ethics committee and the procurement department, and recuse themselves from any further involvement in the evaluation or decision-making process for this specific contract. Explanation. The audit findings indicate a potential conflict of interest involving a faculty member who is also a shareholder in a company bidding for a university contract. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the university's need for fair procurement processes with the ethical obligations of its employees. The faculty member's dual role could influence decision-making, potentially compromising the integrity of the bidding process and the university's reputation. Careful judgment is required to ensure transparency, fairness, and adherence to ethical standards. The correct approach involves immediate disclosure of the conflict of interest to the relevant university authorities, such as the procurement department or the ethics committee. This aligns with the principles of transparency and accountability mandated by university regulations and general ethical codes of conduct for academic institutions. Prompt disclosure allows the university to implement appropriate measures to manage or mitigate the conflict, ensuring the bidding process remains impartial and free from undue influence. This proactive step upholds the university's commitment to ethical governance and fair competition. An incorrect approach would be to proceed with the bidding process without disclosing the faculty member's financial interest. This failure to disclose violates ethical principles of honesty and transparency. It creates an environment where decisions might be perceived as biased, eroding trust among other bidders and within the university community. Such an action could lead to accusations of favoritism and potentially legal challenges, damaging the university's reputation. Another incorrect approach is to attempt to conceal the conflict of interest by influencing the evaluation criteria or the selection process to favor the company. This is a direct breach of ethical conduct and university policy, as it undermines the fairness and integrity of the procurement process. It constitutes a serious ethical lapse and could result in severe disciplinary action for the faculty member and potential legal repercussions for the university. A third incorrect approach is to resign from the faculty position solely to avoid the conflict without any prior disclosure or consultation. While this might seem like a solution, it bypasses the established procedures for managing conflicts of interest. It fails to address the underlying issue of potential influence during the bidding period and does not allow the university to implement appropriate oversight mechanisms. Ethical practice dictates addressing conflicts through established channels rather than unilateral actions that may not fully resolve the situation or uphold institutional integrity. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a clear understanding of the university's conflict of interest policy. When a potential conflict arises, the professional should first identify the nature of the conflict. Second, they should consult the relevant university policies and guidelines to understand their obligations. Third, they must promptly and fully disclose the conflict to the designated authority. Fourth, they should cooperate with the university in implementing any agreed-upon measures to manage or mitigate the conflict. This systematic approach ensures that ethical standards and institutional integrity are maintained. Question 16. System analysis indicates that an applicant preparing for the Amman Arab University entrance exam has drafted a personal essay for their application. While reviewing the essay, the applicant realizes that a significant portion of a paragraph, which eloquently expresses a complex idea, was heavily inspired by an article they read online. The applicant is concerned about the originality of their work and the potential implications for their application. Which of the following actions best upholds the principles of academic integrity and the regulations of the Amman Arab University entrance exam? Option A. Contacting the author of the online article to ask for permission to use the specific phrasing, which is unlikely to be granted. Option B. Rewriting the inspired paragraph entirely in their own words, ensuring it reflects their understanding and original thought process, even if it means sacrificing some of the original eloquence. Option C. Submitting the essay as drafted, assuming the inspiration is not direct plagiarism and that the university will not detect it. Option D. Omitting the entire essay from the application to avoid any potential issues with originality. The correct answer is C. Submitting the essay as drafted, assuming the inspiration is not direct plagiarism and that the university will not detect it. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge related to academic integrity and the ethical responsibilities of an applicant during the Amman Arab University entrance examination process. The core difficulty lies in balancing the applicant's desire to present their best work with the university's requirement for originality and adherence to examination rules. Misrepresenting one's contributions or relying on unacknowledged external assistance undermines the fairness of the assessment and the credibility of the admission process. The correct approach involves the applicant accurately reflecting their own understanding and effort in their application materials, specifically in any submitted essays or personal statements, and adhering strictly to the examination guidelines regarding collaboration and the use of external resources. This approach is justified by the fundamental ethical principles of honesty and integrity, which are paramount in academic and professional settings. Amman Arab University, like any reputable institution, expects applicants to demonstrate their genuine capabilities and commitment to academic honesty. Violating these principles can lead to disqualification and damage to the applicant's reputation. An incorrect approach of submitting work that is significantly influenced by or directly copied from external sources without proper attribution fails to meet the university's expectations for originality. This constitutes academic dishonesty, a serious ethical breach that directly contravenes the spirit and letter of examination regulations. It misrepresents the applicant's true abilities and knowledge, creating a false basis for admission. Another incorrect approach of seeking unauthorized assistance from peers or external parties during the examination period also violates examination rules. This undermines the principle of individual assessment and fairness, as it provides an unfair advantage over other applicants who complete the examination independently. Such actions are a direct contravention of the university's stated examination policies and ethical standards. The professional decision-making process for applicants in such situations should involve a clear understanding of the examination rules and ethical expectations. Before submitting any application materials or undertaking the examination, applicants should thoroughly review the Amman Arab University's entrance exam guidelines. They should prioritize honesty and self-reliance, ensuring all submitted work is their own and that they do not engage in any form of academic misconduct. If unsure about any aspect of the rules, seeking clarification from the University Admissions Office is the appropriate professional step. Question 17. Process analysis reveals that a prospective student applying to Amman Arab University for their undergraduate program is feeling overwhelmed by the perceived difficulty of the entrance examination. The student is aware of the university's strict policies against academic dishonesty. Considering the ethical and regulatory framework governing university admissions in Jordan, which of the following represents the most appropriate and ethically sound course of action for this student? Option A. The student should discreetly inquire among peers about potential leaked exam questions or methods to gain an unfair advantage during the examination. Option B. The student should attempt to find and submit a previously completed entrance exam paper from a past applicant, claiming it as their own work. Option C. The student should dedicate significant time to rigorous study, utilizing official university preparation materials and seeking academic support from legitimate sources, while accepting the outcome of their honest efforts. Option D. The student should explore avenues to offer a financial incentive to an administrative staff member to ensure a favorable outcome on their entrance exam. The correct answer is C. The student should dedicate significant time to rigorous study, utilizing official university preparation materials and seeking academic support from legitimate sources, while accepting the outcome of their honest efforts. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire for academic advancement and the university's commitment to academic integrity and fair assessment. The pressure to succeed, coupled with the perceived difficulty of the entrance exam, can lead individuals to consider unethical shortcuts. Careful judgment is required to navigate this situation by upholding the principles of honesty and meritocracy that are fundamental to any educational institution, including Amman Arab University. Correct approach involves a student diligently preparing for the entrance exam through legitimate study methods, seeking clarification on exam content from university resources if needed, and accepting the outcome of their efforts. This aligns with the ethical principles of academic honesty and personal responsibility, which are implicitly mandated by the regulatory framework governing university admissions. Amman Arab University, like any reputable institution, expects applicants to demonstrate their capabilities through their own work, without recourse to unfair advantages. Adhering to this principle ensures a fair playing field for all applicants and upholds the value of the degrees awarded by the university. An incorrect approach would be to seek or accept unauthorized assistance during the exam. This directly violates the principles of academic integrity and the specific regulations of Amman Arab University concerning examination conduct. Such actions undermine the validity of the assessment process and are considered academic misconduct, potentially leading to disqualification from the entrance exam and future academic pursuits. Another incorrect approach would be to attempt to bribe or unduly influence an examiner or university official. This constitutes a severe ethical and legal breach involving corruption and fraud. It not only jeopardizes the applicant's admission, but also carries significant legal repercussions and severely damages the reputation of both the individual and the institution. A third incorrect approach would be to plagiarize study materials or present someone else's work as one's own during the preparation phase, even if not directly during the exam. While this might seem less direct than cheating during the exam, it still reflects a lack of genuine effort and intellectual honesty, which are core values expected of university students. This can also lead to disciplinary action if discovered. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a clear understanding of the university's academic integrity policies and ethical guidelines. When faced with pressure or temptation, an individual should prioritize honesty, diligence, and adherence to established rules. Seeking legitimate academic support, such as tutoring or study groups, is encouraged. If unsure about exam content or procedures, direct and appropriate channels within the university should be utilized for clarification. Ultimately, the decision should be guided by a commitment to personal integrity and respect for the academic process. Question 18. The audit findings indicate that a faculty member at Amman Arab University, who is also a significant shareholder in a private company, has been involved in the evaluation committee for a tender that their company is bidding on. Which of the following actions best upholds the principles of ethical conduct and fair procurement practices within the university's regulatory framework? Option A. The university proceeds with the evaluation as planned, assuming the faculty member can remain impartial despite their financial stake. Option B. The faculty member immediately discloses their shareholding and potential conflict of interest to the university's procurement department and recusses themselves from all further involvement in the tender evaluation process. Option C. The faculty member informs their company to withdraw from the tender to avoid any appearance of impropriety, without formally disclosing their interest to the university. Option D. The faculty member continues to participate in the evaluation committee, arguing that their expertise is crucial for assessing the technical merits of all bids, including their company's. The correct answer is B. The faculty member immediately discloses their shareholding and potential conflict of interest to the university's procurement department and recusses themselves from all further involvement in the tender evaluation process. Explanation. The audit findings indicate a potential conflict of interest involving a faculty member who is also a shareholder in a company bidding for a university contract. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the university's need for fair procurement processes with the ethical obligations of its employees. The faculty member's dual role creates a situation where their personal financial interests could influence their professional judgment, potentially compromising the integrity of the bidding process. Careful judgment is required to ensure transparency, fairness, and adherence to university policies and relevant Jordanian regulations governing conflicts of interest in public procurement. The correct approach involves immediate disclosure of the potential conflict of interest by the faculty member to the appropriate university authority, such as the procurement department or the ethics committee. This aligns with the principles of transparency and accountability mandated by university regulations and general ethical standards for public institutions in Jordan. Prompt disclosure allows the university to implement measures to mitigate the conflict, such as recusal of the faculty member from any decision-making related to the contract or ensuring independent oversight of the bidding process. This proactive step upholds the university's commitment to fair competition and prevents any perception of impropriety. An incorrect approach would be to proceed with the bidding process without disclosing the faculty member's shareholding. This failure to disclose constitutes a breach of ethical conduct and potentially violates university policies designed to prevent conflicts of interest. It undermines the fairness of the procurement process, as other bidders may not have a level playing field. Another incorrect approach would be for the faculty member to attempt to influence the evaluation committee's decision, even if they have disclosed their interest. This would be a direct violation of their professional duty and could lead to severe disciplinary action, as it demonstrates a clear intent to leverage their personal stake for undue advantage, disregarding the principles of impartiality and objectivity. A further incorrect approach would be for the university to ignore the potential conflict after it has been identified, proceeding with the contract award without any mitigation measures. This would expose the university to reputational damage and legal challenges, as it fails to uphold its responsibility to ensure ethical and transparent procurement practices. Professionals in such situations should follow a clear decision-making framework. 1. Identify the potential conflict of interest. 2. Consult relevant university policies and Jordanian laws/regulations concerning conflicts of interest and procurement. 3. Disclose the conflict to the designated authority immediately and in writing. 4. Cooperate fully with the university's process for managing the conflict, which may involve recusal or other mitigation strategies. 5. Maintain confidentiality and objectivity throughout the process. Question 19. The control framework reveals a potential instance of academic dishonesty during the Amman Arab University entrance examination, where an applicant's submitted work appears to closely mirror content from an unauthorized online source. According to the Amman Arab University's entrance examination regulations, what is the most appropriate course of action to uphold academic integrity while ensuring fairness to the applicant? Option A. Overlook the observation and proceed with the applicant's admission, assuming the similarity is coincidental and not indicative of deliberate cheating. Option B. Immediately disqualify the applicant based on the observed similarity to external content, as this constitutes a clear violation of examination rules. Option C. Request the applicant to resubmit their work with a warning about academic integrity, without further investigation into the initial submission. Option D. Initiate a formal review process by the designated examination committee, which will investigate the extent of the similarity, consult the applicant, and make a determination based on the university's established procedures for academic misconduct. The correct answer is B. Immediately disqualify the applicant based on the observed similarity to external content, as this constitutes a clear violation of examination rules. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge rooted in the ethical imperative to maintain academic integrity and uphold the reputation of Amman Arab University. The challenge lies in balancing the need to identify potential academic misconduct with the requirement to act fairly and transparently, adhering strictly to the university's established entrance examination regulations. A hasty or biased judgment could lead to an unjust outcome for the applicant and damage the university's standing. The correct approach involves a thorough, evidence-based review process that strictly follows the Amman Arab University's entrance examination regulations. This approach prioritizes fairness and due process. It requires gathering all relevant information, including the applicant's submission and any supporting documentation, and then evaluating it against the specific criteria and prohibitions outlined in the university's guidelines for entrance exams. This ensures that any decision is grounded in established rules, protecting the integrity of the examination process and the rights of the applicant. An incorrect approach that involves immediate rejection based on a single, unverified observation fails to adhere to the principle of due process. It bypasses the established procedures for investigating potential misconduct, which are likely detailed within the Amman Arab University's entrance exam regulations. This approach risks penalizing an applicant without a proper opportunity to respond or for the evidence to be fully assessed, violating principles of fairness and potentially leading to a wrongful accusation. Another incorrect approach, which is to ignore the observation entirely and proceed with admission, disregards the university's responsibility to maintain academic standards and prevent academic dishonesty. The entrance examination regulations are designed to ensure that all admitted students meet a certain standard and have earned their place fairly. Failing to investigate a potential breach of these regulations undermines the entire admission process and compromises the academic integrity of the university. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a systematic approach. First, clearly identify the potential issue and consult the relevant university regulations. In this case, Amman Arab University's entrance exam guidelines. Second, gather all available evidence objectively. Third, follow the prescribed procedures for investigation and adjudication, ensuring the applicant is given an opportunity to be heard. Finally, make a decision based solely on the evidence and the university's established rules, documenting the entire process meticulously. Question 20. Investigation of a candidate's application for the Amman Arab University entrance exam reveals discrepancies between their submitted academic transcripts and information provided in their personal statement regarding prior academic achievements. The candidate has listed a higher GPA from a previous institution than what is reflected in the official transcript. What is the most appropriate course of action for the admissions committee to take in this situation, strictly adhering to the regulatory framework and guidelines for the Amman Arab University entrance exam? Option A. Immediately disqualify the candidate from the entrance exam due to the suspected misrepresentation of academic qualifications. Option B. Request clarification from the candidate regarding the discrepancy, and if confirmed as an error, allow for correction with supporting documentation while noting the initial inconsistency. Option C. Overlook the discrepancy, assuming it to be a minor clerical error, and proceed with the application based on the submitted transcript. Option D. Accept the candidate's personal statement as the primary source of information and proceed with their application based on those stated achievements. The correct answer is B. Request clarification from the candidate regarding the discrepancy, and if confirmed as an error, allow for correction with supporting documentation, while noting the initial inconsistency. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between academic integrity and the pressure to achieve high entrance exam scores. The university entrance exam for Amman Arab University is designed to assess a candidate's foundational knowledge and aptitude. Misrepresenting qualifications or providing false information undermines the fairness of the selection process and devalues the achievements of genuine candidates. Careful judgment is required to uphold ethical standards and ensure a level playing field for all applicants. The correct approach involves a commitment to honesty and transparency throughout the application process. This means accurately reporting all academic achievements and qualifications as per the guidelines set by Amman Arab University for its entrance exam. This approach is ethically sound and aligns with the principles of academic integrity, which are fundamental to any educational institution. By adhering to these principles, candidates demonstrate respect for the examination process and the institution itself, fostering a culture of trust and meritocracy. An incorrect approach would be to fabricate or exaggerate academic credentials to gain an advantage. This action constitutes academic dishonesty and a breach of trust. It directly violates the spirit and letter of the entrance exam regulations, which presume truthful representation of a candidate's background. Such misrepresentation not only jeopardizes the candidate's admission, but also carries reputational damage. Another incorrect approach would be to seek unauthorized assistance or to use prohibited materials during the exam. This is a clear violation of examination rules and constitutes cheating, which is universally condemned in academic settings and will lead to immediate disqualification and potential further disciplinary action. A third incorrect approach would be to submit incomplete or misleading documentation, hoping to obscure weaknesses. While not as overt as fabrication, this also demonstrates a lack of transparency and an attempt to circumvent the evaluation process, which is ethically questionable and against the principles of fair assessment. Professionals should approach such situations by prioritizing honesty, integrity, and adherence to established rules and regulations. A robust decision-making framework involves understanding the explicit requirements of the Amman Arab University entrance exam, considering the ethical implications of any action, and choosing the path that upholds academic standards and personal integrity. When in doubt, seeking clarification from the university admissions office is always the most prudent course of action.